Hey folks, how's it going? We're going to do a quick overview today of the talent builds for Enhancement Shaman. Um, Shaman's seen a pretty substantial rebuild here. I know people had their hopes up after Legion that we were going to see a pretty substantial change, potentially bringing Enhancement back to where it was back around Wrath days or potentially WoD, but ultimately we didn't see it. So, Blizz not to leave us wanting for two expansions and make this a dead spec. Actually did I think a solid job here. We've kind of unpruned. We've changed our mechanics quite a bit. The Maelstrom resource is gone entirely, and there's actually a ton of fun to have here. You're going to see there's a bunch of interconnected cooldowns and procs that we're going to be working our way through. But in particular, we're going to touch on two builds. So where we're at right now, as far as single target goes, this is how I'd recommend either open world questing or raiding, depending on what you're using your enhancement shaman for. Tier one, go with lashing flames, just increasing the damage of flame shock um, by 100%. Like that's substantial. Storm fury. So with the change to our maelstrom generation, um, really Storm Strike becomes a major part of our kit, even more so than it was before. So what we're seeing is that Storm Strike has a 25% chance to strike the target an additional time for 40% of the normal damage. So it's like a double up proc there. Um, really easy and fun to see this ability have the capability to actually chain off itself. That means you cast a Storm Strike, you get the Storm Fury proc. That's fantastic. You get the second 40%, but there's a chance you could get an additional Storm Fury proc off of your proc, which really starts to get down to the chain of possibilities, but really fun to see overall. I think it's a neat addition to the kit. Tier 3, this is just utilities. I'm going to go with Spirit Wolf just for the extra defensive and slight increase uh, just to that survivability aspect primarily. Tier 4, I'm going with Elemental Assault. I know there's some discussion there around going a couple different ways between Hailstorm or Fire Nova. Where we're at right now, anything that's going to increase my Storm Strike damage, that's how I'm trying to prioritize the build. Tier 5, again, this is another utility line, just like Tier 3. I'm going with Nature's Guardian just primarily because I'm sure there's still more tuning to come with enhancement. There almost has to be based on what we've seen. So any kind of get out of trouble free, buff my heal back up to by 20% once I drop below 35 every 45 seconds. That's absolutely great. Tier 6, I'm going to go with Sundering. There's a couple different capabilities there. Crashing Storm. That was attractive. I didn't mind how that played. Stormkeeper, this was in our Tier 7 row before. Um, yeah, we're kind of just seeing how that's going to compete with Sundering for the time being. But ultimately, if you're looking for raid content where you don't have a raid boss moving around quite a bit, Sundering is the recommendation right now to roll with that. Tier 7, I've gone with Elemental Spirits last build. I think what you'll see quite a bit is that you can go with like Ascendance, kind of how we have it laid out here. Um, that's an easy way to roll. Alternatively, if you don't like this build, you could go with the Stormkeeper Earth and Strike combo if that happened to be your priority. I'm sticking with Ascendance and Sundering for the moment, though, personally. As far as the Mythic Plus build or AoE build, Tier 1, you're just going to go with Forceful Winds, just kind of increasing your wind fury damage by 50%, stacking up to 5 times. That's great. No change to Tier 2. I think Tier 2 is Storm Fury or Bust. Tier 3, utility, wherever you want it to be, whether it's a shield, whether it's an additional kind of totem. I like having another stun, but I'm going to lean towards survivability, at least in the pre-patch here. Tier 4, going with Hailstorm. So that is one of the material changes you'll see. And really, it's just around increasing the damage of Frost Shock, which absolutely just slowly builds up this Maelstrom weapon stack, and that's ultimately what we are responsible to manage now. Maelstrom weapon, if you're not necessarily familiar, you try to stack it up to the total of about 10 times. Every stack kind of reduces the cast time of the next damage or healing spell by 20% and increases the damage or healing by 20% additionally. So managing your Maelstrom is actually going to be a little bit unique, and it starts to make me think that with this change to the build, Enhancement actually has a decent side skill cap, which is great because during BFA it was almost zero thinking required. He just kind of went and face rolled. So happy to see this progress. Tier 5 again, that's just utility. Depending on the encounter, Wind Rush is a ton of fun. So that's 60% movement speed for a full group. Like that's gonna be a significant difference maker, in particular when we're raiding. For me personally, in the event, I'll be just jumping in between dungeons and open world. I'm gonna stick with Nature's Guardian. Tier 6, Sundering again is an easy way to roll, and Tier 7, Ascendant is again the recommendation. You can run with that a couple different ways, but I think when you are leveraging your Maelstrom weapon stacks and your Frost Shocks via your Hailstorm proc that we just talented into in Tier 4, you're going to deal some really significant AoE. And then when you can get Sundering and Ascendance to deal solid upfront damage, kind of combined with those secondary procs, like you're actually starting to kick out really solid damage overall. Yikes. Alright folks, that's all I've got right now. Drop it down in the comments. Let me know what you like. Let me know what we could do different, what you're planning on doing different. Thanks for taking the time to check out the video, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.